Hello. Hi, Mona. Hi, Stevie. How are you? Let me let everyone arrive. I know I do, Stevie. Thanks. Yeah, isn't that amazing? It's crazy because I've been waiting for that. And, I haven't promoted like I probably should have. And I really wanted 1,000 subscribers at least, because then I could teach on an iPad or a phone, which is going to be interesting. I don't know. I'll try that maybe. It would be really cool to do that, to be, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I'll handle that. But yeah, that was part of my thing, was that I wanted to be able to teach without it being on my computer. And I've done it. I've actually used my iPad for that. So yeah, that was exciting. I saw that. Hi, Jeannie. Good morning. And Deborah, good morning. You're welcome. And then, wait, Deborah, you've been with me before, I think, or have you? If not, if you want to tell me a little something about yourself, please do so. Yeah, so right now, Natural Approaches to Osteoporosis and Bone Health Summit is going on, which is exciting. I was speaking with someone today about asking her what interviews she's listened to, and I've listened to a couple. So I wanted to know what you're listening to, what you've learned. My talk will be on Sunday, and it's exciting. So yeah, all right. Any questions anyone has, or any issues you have, anything you want to tell me about? I kind of have my thoughts on what I'd like to do today, but I'd love to know your thoughts as well, what you'd like to focus on. I'm going to take my socks off, I think, because I definitely want to focus on feet today. So if there's anything in particular, let me know what it is you'd like to do. Wow. Yeah. All right, Deborah. Well, you know what? You can do yoga, and that's what you're going to learn here, is how to do it safely. Because the only thing we shouldn't do with osteoporosis, the only movement, is to flex your spine forward, to bend your spine forward. Rotation is safe, and actually the best way to stimulate spinal bone stimulation. But it's really learning about bending forward and how often we bend our spine without even thinking about it. So really raising your awareness to that. And then realizing that the thing that's going to build stronger bones, I just put my socks on really high up, and now I'm realizing I need to take them off. The thing about bones, there's two things that builds them, and one of them is stimulation. One of them is what we're going to do here. One of them is demanding more, deforming the outside of the membrane of the bone cells by pulling on them and pushing into them, but doing that safely and in an aligned position. And then the more you start to tread into that space of what you can do and strengthening your body and your bones, then you develop confidence to actually start doing more. And the more we do every day is how we actually build our bones. And we need to do this for the rest of our lives. We need to demand more in a safe manner so that we keep the muscles strong and the bones. And that's one thing I notice when people get that diagnosis of osteoporosis, they start to slow down, because it's a very scary diagnosis. And we slow down. And when we slow down, that actually contributes to potentially more bone loss, more muscle loss, more bones. So you're in the right place. Welcome. Glad to have you here. And yeah. All right. So I think I'll begin. And then whoever else is here, hello. So funny, my window right behind this, there's a little squirrel that's staring at me as I'm talking. It's kind of cute. Okay. All right, here we go. Yoga for osteoporosis, yoga for stronger bones, yoga for increased range of motion in our joints, for flexibility, for empowerment, that we can actually take care and take charge of ourselves, because we can. So that's what you're here to do. You'll hear me guide and direct, yet I want you to listen to what your body says. Yes, I should. No, I shouldn't. And exploring a range of motion, whatever that is. Not saying no, I can't, but looking at what can you do effectively and safely. And then hopefully my guidance will allow you to come into these postures in a safe and effective manner so that you could create that stimulation for stronger muscles, which will lead to stronger bones. All right, so for today's practice, get a block and a strap and a blanket. And then if you don't have those props, something that looks pretty similar to them. Bringing the floor to us, filling in the spaces of the body is what makes the practice a little bit more manageable. Something I had to learn in my life as my hip started to do what it was doing, and then I went to the place I went to. And so props, I love props. I think they're super helpful. We're going to begin by connecting our mind and our body, coming to the present moment, being very somatically aware, because the more somatically aware you are, the safer you'll keep yourself. And then whatever time we are together today, how many ever minutes that is, staying as connected as possible to this moment. So letting your biochemistry and physiology calibrate to this present moment so that you're in a safe place internally to actually build bones and build muscles, and to be hyper aware so that whatever you're doing, you're safe, and to learn what are safe movements when it comes to strengthening muscles and bones safely and effectively as we age, especially when it comes to osteoporosis. So with that said, you're going to come to a place where you could close your eyes. Whatever seated position you need to take on, it may be kneeling, it may be crisscross legged, whatever it is. And you're going to come to a position with the eyes closed. Start to pay attention to sounds. Keep your mouth closed. Begin to breathe in and out through your nose. Are there sounds in the walls? Are there sounds outside from birds or in your house? And bring your awareness down to the sound of your heart. Notice the heart beating, and can you hear it? Bring your awareness down to your belly, to your pelvis, to the ground. Bring your hands together at your heart. So bringing the hands to a prayer position. Hands are together. Press the heart to the hands to the heart. And press strongly so that you actually feel the muscles in the back of the shoulder blades, back of the heart. You feel those muscles activate. Bring your awareness to your spine. Your spine is nice and long. Bring your awareness to your neck. Your neck is long. Bring your awareness to your eyes and gently blink your eyes open. Noticing how you feel. Noticing if you are calm and relaxed. We're going to move into a supported back bend to warm up our spine, our muscles of posture, our upper body. Let's take the blanket, open your blanket into its longest version, and roll it up into a tighter roll if you have flexibility in your body. If you have any issues in your spine, your upper back, neck, if you have any current rotator cuff tears that you need to be careful with, any shoulder issues, Go a little more gentle with the roll so it's not quite as high or as tight. And then if you have a rough edge of your blanket, bring the rough edge of your blanket onto the mat closest to your tushy. We're gonna bring our body down. Our spine is gonna be supported by this blanket, the movable part of the spine, which is the low back, the mid back, and the upper, keeping the tushy on the ground. So that's the lower part of the spine. Awareness always, always on the front of the spine, not to collapse in the front of the spine. That's what we 100% don't want to do with osteoporosis. And then you're going to take your arm long, bring yourself down with that length in your spine, and arrange yourself, lift your tushy off the ground, place it back down. So the tushy is on the ground. Your blanket is supporting your spine. Your eyes are open so you can arrive here safely, meaning you convey safety to your nervous system. And your body decides what safe means. Take your block and your strap down away from you so that it's not near the sides of your body. We'll do a little moving meditation to keep the mind busy, to really activate the somatic or the feeling part, bringing yourself to that part of your brain. So let your feet be on the ground, knees are bent, feet are wider than the body, let the knees fall in towards each other. And then arrange your head, lifting your head up, lengthening the back of your neck. Let's begin here, moving the arms. Bring the elbows down towards your waist. Palms are up towards the sky. Inhale, let your hands gently move towards the wall behind you, maybe even towards touching fingertips above your head if that's available to you. Exhale, let your elbows come down to your waist. Go slow here with your breath and match the movement of the breath with the movement of the arms. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. If you have rotator cuff issues, keep your hands on your shoulders and let your arms move up and down to the sides, reducing that weight and that pressure in the shoulder joint. You inhale, your arms rise up. You exhale, they move down towards your waist. Keep your mind on your movement. Keep your mind in your body. A few more breaths. Let your arms go out to the side. Palms are up towards the sky. Bring yourself into the place where you feel a pretty decent stretch near the armpit, near where the arms attach to the body, the shoulders, the chest. Then push your tailbone in towards the ground. Push your low back towards the blanket and push your heart up towards the sky. See if you could protect the low back as you lengthen the thoracic spine where the ribs are attached. And notice what's happening in your neck when you do this. Does the tension translate up to your neck? So from here, inhale, exhale, let your head move to one side. Let it be your nose that moves to the side. Back up to center, exhale, nose to the other side. Really good postural movement, taking stress out of the upper back and neck Push your belly button towards your spine, tailbone towards the ground, lumbar spine towards the blanket. Heart pressing up. Head is moving side to side. So there's a little bit of activity here, and you feel a stretch wherever you feel it in your torso, your spine, your chest, your shoulders, your neck. And then bring yourself back to center. Let yourself rest here. Knees are in towards each other, feet are on the ground. Move your arms into a position where you feel a pretty substantial stretch that's appropriate. It feels like a stretch and it feels like enough and not too much. Higher up you raise your arms, you start to stretch your core muscles, rotation muscles, the belly, the lower ribs. Move into a position where you feel stretch. Mouth is closed, breathing in and out through your nose. Breathe down to your belly. Finishing up your last few breaths. Moving your fingers and your toes. Bring yourself into a fully stretched position, if that's appropriate for you. This is actually something that's great to do every day, because every day that tension and tightness comes back into our body. So stretching your joints, stretching your tissues in this position where you have something behind your spine, correcting your spinal alignment. You actually are going to stretch your belly, your hips, muscles of posture, stability, structure, helping to open up that pathway of communication for joint alignment, posture, and balance communication. Very big aspects of bone health if you have osteoporosis or osteopenia. Take one more breath and then bend your knees. Bring yourself onto your side. Let your spine go back into pressure from this angle, which is a lateral pressure. Making sure when we come up that we keep the front of our spine long. We do not let the lower ribs press towards the back. And if you were to lift your head, that action starts to happen. You start to activate those muscles. Let's see if we could isolate this using our upper body muscles. So keep your spine nice and long. Bring your hand onto the ground. You're going to use your elbow. You're going to use your hand. And you're going to push away from the ground to bring yourself up away from the ground. So I say that being aware of this is really important for osteoporosis, and it is, because this is where most of the fractures occur, but it's really important for all of us, because when we lose the integrity here, this is like the base of a tower, or the middle or close to the base of the tower. When you lose that, if you think about a tower, a whole structure, if the bottom stones were going to start to collapse, you can imagine what happens to everything above. And we have a lot of weight up here and a lot that needs to be managed in our body. So really paying attention to the front of your spine all day, every day when you move, is integral to health and spinal health and postural health. Bring your knees onto your mat, come up onto all fours. Let's start off with a real humdinger and a little self-awareness here. Take your foot behind you, flip your toes under, push your heel back. Spread your fingers a lot. If you're someone that doesn't like to weight bear on your wrists, modify. You could roll up your mat and put your hand on your mat, or even turn your hands out to the side a little bit, may take away some of that pressure, and then take the other foot back. Remember, finding what is possible, what you can do, and challenging yourself every day, adding a little more every day. From here, we're going to come into the plank. You either keep your legs and your feet on the ground, or you could bring your feet back and up and bring your knees off. Once you come into this posture, bring your awareness to your hands. Push back towards your feet. So push your hands in and then push to your feet so you feel your calves activate. And your toes are bent. Now push your feet into the floor so you feel the weight there as well. So it's not just all upper body. And then push all 5 toes on both feet into the ground. Push through those heels, push those toes into the ground strongly. And then bring your awareness to your hands. Hands are spread. Now push your fingers in. Push the pinky, the ring, the middle, pointer, and the thumb. And then push where the fingers attach to this palm. Now push the whole palm, the whole hands. Slide your shoulder blades towards each other. And then draw your pubic bone up towards your belly button. Activate your lower ribs slightly towards the back, up towards the sky. Deep core stabilizing muscles, activating them right out the gate. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down. Bring yourself all the way up. Let's take the wrists, shake the wrists. We'll stretch the wrists. Bring your arm across your body. Bend your hand, push your hand towards you. Feel that stretch on the top of the forearm and keep the arms straight when you do this. That's why we're going across the body so you have access. Some of you can come straight off your body. That's fine. You won't bend your elbow. But for others, you may need to go across your body. And then flip the hand up. You can stay up here in a kneeling position. You can sit on your heels if that's available to you. The focus right now is stretching the wrists. Try to make sure you don't wear shoulder earrings. So keep your shoulder down, stretching your forearm, your wrist, and then coming through the heel of the hand, really pushing through the heel of the hand, keeping your elbows straight. Take one more breath and then shake your wrists. The important thing when we move in the postures is that we bend our hip joint, because when we do the standing practice and we load into our joints, we're loading into the hip to create stimulation here, right where the top of the leg bone hits the body. And so let's come onto our shins, toenails are on the ground, and keep the front of your spine long, keep your head lifted. Do a little bit pushing your tushy back. So instead of thinking about bending forward, which is a challenge, and that's when it usually goes into the spine, instead of thinking of that, you're here, push your tushy back and let that be what bends you forward. So there's less torso movement, more pelvic and hip joint movement. And that's what's important throughout your day, is to think of that. Bring the tension here. Bring it into this area, to the hip joints, the femur bone, the head of the femur, using the muscles of the pelvis. So let's stretch our spine. Take your hands forward. You're going to stretch your spine up. Push your tushy up in the air. Try to bring your belly close to your top thighs, and then bring yourself up. So we are forward folding, and we're forward folding at the hip joint, which is where it is safe to do so. If you think about the front of your spine right now, it's open. It's not closing. So if your spine is a tower, you're keeping your tower with that, it's not moving. The movement is coming below the tower in your hip joint. You might even start to feel some shoulder movement. And then bring yourself all the way down if you can. If you need to get a block to rest your forehead, get the block, bring the ground up to you, or let your forehead touch the ground. This is called puppy dog. It's not child's pose, it's puppy dog. There's no flexion in your spine. Your spine is lengthened. You are bending deeply in the hip joint. And if your hips are not crazy about bending or you feel any pain, then put the block underneath your forehead. Don't bend or flex so deeply. Take one more breath and bring yourself up. So I'm going to do a posture now that is a lunge that's actually amazing for strengthening the hips, for lengthening the hips, for bringing a lot of power in the body, and it's a little bit of a challenge. So let's bring the right leg forward. And if you've got issues that you need to do a different leg than what I'm doing, then do that. So we're really going to be stretching the hip flexor, the front of the left leg, and we're going to be strengthening the back of the right leg. So your glute's going to get active here. If you're bringing your right foot forward of your knee, so don't have your foot here. That's really important when you do this lunge. Now the forward motion of that leg being pretty far forward will challenge balance maybe for you. So having a block here to let your fingertips go on so you still have that lengthened front spine, coming forward and backwards, bringing your whole body forward by bending the front knee, bending the front hip. And then push that front heel into the floor a lot. And see what you notice in your body. What do you feel? And then bring yourself forward. Take your hand on your thigh, bring your block forward if you need. So you're here in a lunge position. Push that front heel into the floor a lot. See if you could feel that activation of the glute on that side. Long spine, let's add a little bit of rotation. Turning your heart over that front leg. Now here's where you could stay. This would be a beginning place to go. If you can keep your spine nice and open in the front, keep your spine open in the front, bring the opposite elbow on the outside of that front knee. Flip your toes, your back toes under if you'd like to lift your leg up. Keep your body long. Your spine is not bending here. If your spine bends when you do this, go back to the place before that flexion came in. Push that front heel into the floor. Take one more breath. Bring yourself down. If you came up, bring yourself back to neutral. Bring yourself all the way out. Catch your breath, either sitting on your heels, staying up in the kneeling position, whatever you need to do. Catch your breath. Mouth is closed, breathe in and out through your nose. We move between effort and ease in the practice. And because this is about strengthening bones and muscles, we bring in some pretty powerful moves that we hold, we stay in to create stimulation. And then we come out of that effort and we bring in the ease. It's important to find that balance. And it's also what makes this practice more manageable and enjoyable when you do it like that. Let's go to the other side. Bring your foot up, bring it forward. So the block is here. Your fingers are here to keep your spine up, to keep you in a nice balanced position if you need that. When you're going to inhale to come forward, bending that front knee and front hip, lengthening that back hip joint, and then bring yourself back. Push that front heel into the ground a lot so that that glute takes a lot of this movement. You either use the block or not, depending on what you'd like. Keep the front spine nice and lengthened. And then bring yourself forward. Come forward. You could take the block with you if you need. Front spine is long. From here, you're going to rotate your heart over that front leg. If you'd like, you could stay there. So that's rotation, little spinal rotation. And then if you'd like, you could bring your arm to the outside of the knee, bring your hands together. As long as your front spine is long. And then if you'd like to explore this side, flipping the toes under, bringing the knee off the ground. Push that front heel into the floor a lot and activate that front glute. Long spine. You bring yourself down, back to center, all the way out into a resting position, either up in the kneeling down. Close your eyes, catch your breath. Mouth is closed, breathe down to your pelvis. And then open your eyes. Take your blanket, fold your blanket, bring it back to the top of your mat. You're going to need your strap and your block. So bring yourself to the very edge of your blanket and then reach and grab some flesh. Move it back so you feel your sits bones. Take your block and put your block between your calves. Take your strap. Don't bend forward in your spine to put it on your feet. Instead, keep your spine nice and lengthened and lasso your feet. Put the strap around the arches of the feet. And then if you can, slide your hands so that your elbows come underneath your shoulders. And if you'd like, you can wrap your hands around the strap and squeeze the block, push down strongly with your legs. That'll help you get a little more lift. This is called Dandasana, staff posture. Push your feet into the floor, lengthen your spine. Elbows are underneath your shoulders. Push down, pull back, and lift up. Really pull back a lot. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Lift your heart, lower your shoulders, lengthen the back of your neck. Chin parallel towards the ground. Very active. Push down, get tall. Don't come into it and hang out. Come into it and work. Pushing out on the strap with your feet, squeezing the block with your calves, pushing down into the ground, pulling back with your hands, squeezing your elbows in at your body. We're going to take 2 more breaths. If you'd like, you could bring your arms up. If you can maintain the integrity of your bend in your hip joint and not let it go anywhere else. Take 1 more breath. And then bring yourself out. Take the strap off to the side, block to the side. Bring the soles of the feet together. You're at the edge of your blanket. And then push your feet together and push your knees towards the ground. Lengthen your spine. Take 1 more breath. So let's come into spinal rotation. The best way to strengthen your spine, long spine, rotating each vertebra on top of itself. We want to rotate this part of our spine, the thoracic, where the lower ribs are, on up to where the neck is. The cervical spine, if you move your head back and forth side to side, this is where the most rotational force is. So the head is going to go with you, but this is where more of the limitations are. So we're really going to work here to get the rotation to come into that thoracic spine where the ribs are attached. Take the block behind you on the ground. I'm going to go to the left. Let me teach it from the left. So if you could do that side, that would make it a little easier to follow along. Reach under, grab the flesh of the buttocks. Bend your left leg, and then get length in your spine here. If you hold on tight, the elbows are active and out, you can get a nice lift in your spine. Take your right hand onto your left leg, and then take the left hand on the ground before you, behind you. Keep your back elbow bent, so you're not resting on this. You are pushing away to get tall to bring length into your spine. Right elbow is active, but make sure you don't have a shoulder earring. So long neck, active right arm. Press your right leg into the ground, press your left leg, get tall in your spine, exhale. And then inhale, the lower ribs move, the middle ribs where the heart is, and then the upper ribs. Be broad across the chest, so keep that active right elbow. Once you're here, lower your shoulders, slide the shoulder blades towards each other, long neck. Active feet, really push the feet into the ground. Grow out of your spine, and then try to rotate your ribs, lifting your heart. Be active the whole time you're in this. Take one more breath. Stay tall as you come out. Push your block over the other side. Stay tall. Let's go to the other side. Bending the right leg. Hold on to the right leg and get tall in your spine. Hold on to that right leg with your left arm. Keep your elbow bent. Right hand on the block behind you. Push down and get tall. Active feet. Really push the foot and the heel into the ground. Exhale. Inhale, the lower ribs, the middle ribs, and the upper ribs. The rib cage, move in the spine where the rib cage is. When you come in deeply, lower your shoulders, slide your shoulder blades towards each other, lift your heart forward. Elbows are active, pushing away from the ground, tall spine, lowering the shoulders, shoulder blades towards each other, heart lifted, long spine. Take one more breath. And slowly bring yourself all the way out. Come all the way out. Take your legs wide. And bring yourself forward to the front of your blanket that's folded, even falling off of it, because that'll give you a little bit of lift. You may need your block here depending on what you need. If you're feeling that there's a collapse coming into your spine, because you may have tightness in your glutes, your low back muscles, your hamstrings, you may be experiencing this in your adductors. So wherever you're feeling it, if you push away from the floor with your feet and push away from the block with your hands, you'll be able to maintain that spinal length that's important. So not just hanging out, but coming in here and still maintaining the spine as we stretch the hip joint area, the low back, the glutes, the legs. And then the other thing is you could bend your knees if it feels really intense. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. Let's come on to our shins. So bring your block off to the side, come onto your shins. So we're going to use the block here between our legs. So right between the ankle joint, so you could squeeze the block. So make sure it's right by the ankle joint, even right by the heel, so you can get this protection and this pressure into that. And if you contract your tushy and draw the tailbone down, so you bring yourself into this posterior tilt, we're going to do camel, which is a back bend. And the part of your spine you're going to work on bending the most is this thoracic section where your ribs are. The low back is already in an extension curve. So contracting the tushy and pointing the tailbone down will help to support the low back as you focus on the upper back, bringing a bend in. So the hand position, you could take your hands down behind you, clasped. You could hold on to the elbows if you'd like, or you could take your fists or the heel of your hand on the top of your pelvis to help with that support as you slide the shoulder blades towards each other and bring the bend into the upper spine as much as you can. So we're bringing in a back bend, whatever variation that is for you. So let's begin. Squeeze the block, squeeze the tushy, tailbone down. Back is active to support. Front is soft. We want the front of the body to stretch. And let's come into this posture. Stretching the front of your body, the front of your spine. Long neck, shoulders are down. Feel the front of your body stretch. Open the front of your spine. Push your shoulder blades forward to bend your spine as much as possible. Take one more breath. You're going to come down to sit. You could sit on the block that's there. If you need to move it back a little, move it back, or do whatever you need to do, whatever your knees need you to do. This is a knee flexion issue, sitting down. So see what's available to you and let it be whatever it is. Close your eyes, breathe down to your belly. Recalibrate your heart rate. Take one more breath. So when it comes to strengthening muscles and bones, if we approach it this way, where we come into a posture, we do all we can, we stay very body aware of what we're doing, create as much tension as we can in that 30 seconds range. If we could do that, then we allow ourselves the break. We're more likely to stay safe because we'll be in it when we're doing it. We'll be very aware. We'll go into it knowing that we're going to give a lot and demand a lot, because we're trying to build some pretty strong tissue here. Bones are very strong tissue. And so the more we're pushing and pulling, the more we're loading and bending, the stronger and bigger and heavier the muscles are, the more they demand every day, even when you're brushing your teeth or walking around living your life. So let's give it the best effort when you're in the postures, and then allow yourself this moment to recalibrate and to catch up with what you just did. Really getting that connection, really important. So let's move to the standing part of the practice. Put your block off to the side, keep it on its tallest level. Come onto your shins. The gaze is forward. Notice your inclination, your tendency when you get up. What I notice is many people look down. And if your head goes down, just be up here. Notice what happens when you take this 10-pound object and you start to bring it forward. Go slow. You start to feel it in the belly. The psoas has to activate the stabilizers. You may feel that in the upper back and neck. And inevitably, you're going to shorten the front of your spine and collapse in the front of your spine. So where your head goes, your spine follows. Keep your head active and lifted. We're going to come to a standing position. Bring your foot forward. Hands are on your foot. Take your back toes, flip them under. Push your front foot into the floor and slowly bring yourself up to standing. Bending down to get your blanket, keep your spine long, blanket off to the side. And then grab a chair or a wall. So coming to standing, always setting yourself up for success. Let's warm up the feet. Lift your heel up, keep your toes on the ground. Try to bend all 5 of your toes. And notice when you do this, does your foot roll in so you're only moving onto the big one, the big toe? Notice where your kneecap goes when you do this. Notice how your heels feel, how your ankle feels, how the bottom of your foot feels, your calves. How does your hip receive this? Knee joint receive this? What happens to the quads? And notice in yourself the function of your joints. Because if there is a dysfunctional pattern, it wears the joints down, contributes to arthritis, and then the body needs to dissolve the bones to send calcium and materials to the area that needs to be repaired. So joint alignment, really critical for healthy bones. Try to get a little bit more fancy, bending your knees. Keep your body stationary. So let it really be isolated to the feet, to the ankles, to the knee joint and below. Let this movement be down there. And then bring yourself to a hold. Now you're going to bend the toes this way. Bend your toes. Keep your heel up. You're pushing your body weight forward so you feel that stretch. There's a rounding that comes into the front of the toes, stretching the front of the foot. Feel that stretch. Make sure it feels appropriate. This is where balance and communication takes place in the body, is in the soles of the feet. And the feet, from the feet up to the brain. Do the other side. Flip the toes under, just the toe part, and stretch your foot. Holding onto the chair if you need it, or a wall. You may not need to hold on to anything, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. And see if you could feel that stretch on the top of your foot. Now we're going to go a little farther with that stretch on the top of the foot. You're going to take your foot back behind you. You're on the standing leg, your foot is behind you, your toenails are touching the ground. You may need the chair. Really push that front foot, the front heel into the ground a lot, so you stabilize and you activate the glute on that side as you get this stretch and this length to come in your feet. This will help with balance. And let's do the same thing with the other. Taking the foot back. Also, for those of you that have feet issues, if you're starting to notice some soreness in your feet, which it happens quite often actually. So another part of our body we need to focus on, pay attention to, that we maybe are neglecting or just not really thinking about. Flip your toes under. And then bring yourself back to center. You're going to have your feet be body distance, a little wider than hips. And then you're going to lift your arches up, roll towards your pinky toe edges. See if you can feel that stretch up and down the sides of your feet. Then bring the soles of the feet back onto the ground. See if you could push the arches towards the ground. Notice if that gives you any knee issues. Opening up, stretching the side of the legs. Make sure your weight is everywhere. Pinky toe edge, and then back just to neutral. Lifting up and stretch. This is an important movement for balance and for keeping your feet healthy. Hold here. Really push down into the pinky toe edges by the heel, the whole side of the foot. Long spine, tall body. And then bring yourself out. Shake your foot. Bring your legs so that they're body distance. They're right underneath your hips. Push your body weight to one foot. Bring the other foot forward. Lift your leg up. The higher up you lift it, the more work that you're going to give for your muscles. So do what's appropriate for you. Point and flex. Point and flex. Hands on the waist to help with balance. Point and flex. Stretch the foot. Articulate your ankle joint. Just the ankle is moving. And then circles in one direction slowly. Slow circles. Circles in the other direction. And then come back to neutral. Bend your knee and unbend. Bend and unbend. And then lift your leg up. Let your leg go to the side. Let it come across your body. Up and over. Chairs next to you if you need it. Wall next to you. This is definitely a balance and a strengthening hip joint on your standing leg. Warming up all the joints of the opposite leg. And then bring yourself back to neutral. Come into a neutral position here. Bring your awareness to the leg you just worked. To the sole of the foot, to the ankle, to the knee, to the thigh, to the hip. Noticing what you notice in that leg. If you'd like to compare it to the opposite leg to see if it feels bigger, feels more aware, more somatically aware of that leg you just worked. The foot, the ankle, the sole of the foot, the toes. The calf, the shin, the knee, the thigh, front and back, that hip joint. And let's go the other side. Bringing your body weight to the other side, bring your foot forward, pointing and flexing. Go strong here. Strongly point, strongly flex. Point, flex. Lift your heart, lengthen your spine. And then slow circles in one direction. And slow circles in the other. Now your knee joint. So we're going to bend the knee, reach through the heel to come forward. Now the hip to the side, across the body. And then bring yourself to standing. Hands are down alongside your body, palms are forward. Noticing what you notice. And then shake. We're going to strengthen the calves, really important part for balance, for fall prevention, which is really important for bone health. Toes are forward. You're going to lift your heels straight up and down. Straight up and down. Try not to go too far forward and lift. Try to lift up and down. If you want to let your arms go, make sure the pinky toes are touching. Come up, stay up. And then go ahead and lower down. Shake your legs. Come into that neutral position. Feel your legs, feel your feet, feel your hips, your knees. Feel your heart. Breathe down to the soles of your feet. Taking care of your feet is really important when it comes to aging, when it comes to bone health, when it comes to fall prevention, articulating the joints, keeping them mobile, keeping arthritis out of them, because we can. Arthritis is not a given. Bone loss is not a given. It's something that happens for various reasons. And these are some preventative measures for keeping that fluidity in your feet, that mobility, and that stretch. Let's do one more thing. We're going to stretch our calves. So you're going to bring yourself forward to the chair, or you could do this near a wall where you bring the back foot, the heel needs to be on the ground. So take the back heel on the ground, toes are forward, and then walk that front foot forward. You're going to bring your body weight forward, keeping the heel on the ground. You could do this on a chair, or this is also something that's great to do against a wall, keeping that back heel on the ground so you can keep your spine nice and long. So whatever it is you're going to do, you push that back heel into the ground. When you bend that front leg forward, bringing your body weight forward, you stretch even more in that heel. Keep your spine lifted. Push away from the chair. Don't hold on to it. Use your hands to push away to keep your spine nice and long. Really push that back heel into the floor a lot. Push the front heel into the floor and the back heel in. So really use your heels here. Take one more breath. Let's switch. The other foot comes forward, the other foot goes back. Arrange yourself so that you feel a decent stretch in the back leg when you bend the front knee to come forward into this. Front spine is nice and long. Push your front heel and back heel into the ground. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself forward, bring yourself out. Come back into what's called mountain. Let's find mountain in our body. Big toes are together, heels are apart. Push your feet down, push your hands down. Push away from the ground, get tall in your spine. Lengthen the back neck. Keep yourself in this long, elongated position. You're active here. This is an active posture. You're not just hanging out. Push away from the floor, push your hands down, and then lengthen your spine. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Lift the pubic bone up towards the belly button. Long neck. Lift the clavicle bones up towards the sky. Push your head back so it's on top of your body and reach your thumbs back. For those that have solid balance, you could either close one eye at a time or both. Take one more breath. Open your eyes. From here, we're going to move into tree, a posture of balance. Bring your body weight onto one side, bend the opposite knee. Keep the toes on the ground as you bring the knee out to the side. Bring the foot up in between the ankle and the knee. Push down in the ground. Hands can stay here. They could go on your waist, or you can move them to the side. Grab the floor with your toes. Long spine here. Find something to stare at that doesn't move. Take one more breath. Slowly come out, come back into your mountain. Push both feet into the ground, hands are down. Find that alignment in your body. Push your body weight onto the other foot. Bend the knee, toes are on the ground, knee out to the side. Bring the foot up in between the ankle and the knee. Push down in the ground, get tall. Lengthen your spine, lift your heart. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. Hands are down. And then bring yourself into a relaxed position. So let's move on to another posture. Take your chair off to the side. You'll need your block for this, maybe. Not everybody, but some will. Take the block to the side you're going to move in. We're going to come into a side angle. We're going to deeply bend our hip and our knee, putting a lot of tension in the head of the femur bone, creating strength in the muscles of the leg, muscles of the hip area. So creating muscle and bone stimulation, and then a lot of postural work with the upper body. As we tilt to the side, we're going to add rotational force into the spine. So coming from mountain, take your feet wide as you can. Be near a wall if you feel precarious with balance. Some of you that have a little bit more flexibility in your legs may go down to the block. Lift your toes up, turn your toes to the side, back heels away from you. Your shoulders are forward, up, back, and they're down. Slight bend in the front knee. As the front knee bends, it moves to the side. Pushing away from the back foot, exhale. And as you inhale, push away from that back foot. Bend the front knee a lot, bend the front hip a lot to bring you down into the warrior two position. From here, reach long, bring your hand on top of your thigh and bring your hand up towards the sky. This is side angle. If you're able to go a little deeper in your joints, come onto a block, load in a little deeper. You're pushing away from either your leg with your arm or you're pushing away from your block with your hand. Be as tall as you could be from fingertip to fingertip and as long as you could be on your body. Push your back foot into the floor, especially the pinky toe edge, and then rotate your trunk forward. Take one more breath. Push your front foot into the floor, bring yourself back up to the warrior two, and then out. Take your block to the other side if you're using a block. Toes are forward, lift your toes up. So you want to keep this leg straight. You're not going to try to put your foot over to the side. Let your hip joint find where it needs to go. Push the heel in, leg is straight. Swivel into an externally rotated position, whatever that hip will give you. Back heel moves away. Active back foot, active front foot, slight bend in the front leg. Inhale, up, back, and down. Exhale. Inhale, press away from the back foot, load into the front knee and the front hip. From here, inhale long, and then come onto the top of your thigh or the block. Push away to create that tension and push that front heel into the ground, the back pinky toe edge of the foot into the ground. Both heels very active. And rotate your trunk forward. Take one more breath. Bring yourself back up. Unbend. Bring yourself back to mountain. Catch your breath. Get your block. You can do this with or without a block. We're going to do chair. Bringing the block between our legs. The toes are forward. You push your tushy back to come into chair. Arms are going to come up, tushy's going to come back. Bending the hip, bending the knees, mostly the hips. Walk your feet so that they're block distance. Squeeze the block. Inhale, exhale. And as you inhale, push your tushy back, load into chair. Bring your arms up, look forward between your hands. Squeeze your block, pelvis down, really push your heels into the ground. Bring your upper body up and bend deeper in your hip if you can. Loading into the hips. Take one more breath. Bring your hands together, bring yourself all the way up, all the way out. Block off to the side. Find mountain. Catch your breath. Shake your arms. Get your strap and your blanket. Bring yourself back. We're going to come down onto the ground. So loading in your joints, take a wide stance in both directions, this way and this way. And then loading down onto the ground, keeping your spine long. Bring yourself onto the side. Reach your hand long to come down onto the ground. Let's stretch our leg, pull on our pelvis. Use the pulling aspect of the muscles to pull on the base of the pelvis. So the head is supported by the blanket. Draw your left foot in, take the strap on the left arch. Keep your leg straight, no bend in the knee. That's what we want, no bend in the knee. Pull the strap down, pull at that level of the arch, firm up the leg, push the leg away, make it very active, and now draw the leg towards the wall behind you. Feel the pulling on the pelvis right where the leg attaches to the body. Push the leg away from you with your muscles. Be active. Resist the pulling back towards the wall behind you. Keep your low back off the ground. Don't let your pelvis tilt backwards. Keep yourself in a neutral pelvis. Right leg is bent or straight. It's up to you. Pulling the leg back, pushing the leg away. Create as much tension as you can in the back of the hamstring. Pulling on the pelvic area, right where it attaches to the pelvis. Take one more breath. And then the release, bend the left foot, bring the right foot up, right at the arch, put the strap in the arch, pull the leg down, keep the leg straight, firm up the leg, push the leg away from you, and now draw the leg towards the wall behind you. Come in really strong and active. You're trying to pull on the muscle that attaches to your pelvis. Pulling on the pelvic bone, so you're demanding more, getting the pelvic bone stronger. Push the leg away and pull it towards the wall behind you. Knee is straight. Lower back is not pressing into the ground. You're not tilting your pelvis backwards. Pelvis is in neutral. Active leg. Really active work here. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and release. Bring your knees into your chest. Noticing your body, how you feel at the top of the back pelvis. Rock side to side, low back presses into the ground. We're going to come into the last posture of the day, Shavasana, allowing everything that was done in the practice today to find where it needs to go. So come into Shavasana, legs are spread, hands could be up towards the sky or they could be on your belly. Mouth is closed, breathing in and out through your nose. Gently begin to deepen your breath. And start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bending your knees, drawing your knees into your chest one at a time, rocking side to side. And coming onto your side. Pushing away strongly with your hand and your elbow. Up to seated or kneeling. I'm going to close the practice with a gentle humming sound. Let everything settle. Bring your hands together at your heart. Sit nice and tall in your spine. Mouth is closed. Take a big exhale. Inhale. We bow in gratitude for this wisdom, for the opportunity to practice, to take care of our body, our bones, our balance, our alignment, to have this wisdom, to be able to do this, to notice. We say thank you. Open your eyes. So doing what you can every day to strengthen your bones, your muscles, your joints, to keep them mobile, fluid, and functional so that you minimize breakdown and wear and tear, and you don't let things happen to you. You take charge. And there's nothing inevitable. Really, there's more in our control than we realize. So do what you can every day. Do your best, leave the rest. And learn about your body, learn about your bones, learn about your posture, your spine, so you can stay safe as you do these strong movements. All right, my question to you all is this. We did a lot of footwork and prep today for the balance that we did, and part of the prep had balance in it. I felt very strong when I came into my first tree posture, and I'm wondering if you noticed that as well. Hi, Carol. Hi, Carolyn. So I'm wondering if you noticed that. Stevie, did you notice that after we did that standing warm-up foot exercise that you had more, we held tree for a minute. So we held plank for a minute, we held tree for a minute, we held side angle longer than 30. So I'm wondering if you noticed that. Oh yeah, that's really good for tennis, Carolyn, for not falling and rolling our ankles. Hi, Kathy. Yes. Not that strong. Okay, well, we got to get that going for you for fall prevention. So the footwork today had a lot of components that can keep your feet strong. That's really important for balance. So this is a recorded class. You'll be able to look at this again. So subscribe if you're not subscribed, like if you like, any comments you'd like to give me, visit my website, debbierobinson.com. I'm a speaker in a summit that's going on right now, and it's a free summit. It's on my homepage. So go there, register for the summit. Lots of amazing speakers on natural approaches to osteoporosis and bone health. That's interesting. So both Kathy and Stevie. All right. I wonder, because we definitely did a lot of strengthening and balance challenge before we came to tree. So the standing single leg point flex, move the foot around, bend the knee and lift the leg up and back. That was a lot of strengthening. So I wonder if we went into a place of fatigue, because that was kind of a lot. Week after the tree pose, Jeannie, or before? We did a lot. I mean, the standing footwork that we did up on our calves, or up on our toes to strengthen our calves, standing on one foot, point flex, and do all that. That was a lot of leg work. We did 10 postures today, but we did so many strengthening standing work before we even got there. Okay. All right. So I wonder, because that was a lot. I mean, my legs were sore coming out of that. So, but I did feel really strong in my tree today on my left side, more my hip replacement side, more than usual. All right, let's try that again. Let's see what happens next time. We'll do like, a trial and see how it goes. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Grateful to have you here. And I look forward to seeing you in my next class. I'm here on Saturday, and then I'm here every week, right? 8 classes a week. You're welcome, Jeannie. All right. Have a great day, ladies. Bye.